Welcome back. So hopefully everybody got a chance to try and tackle moving this code into its own Saga. If you are able to do it, hopefully you are also able to sign our user in after they've successfully signed up. If not, that's totally fine. We are going to build out this feature ourselves right now. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create the respective sign up, success, failure, and start actions. So let's make those now. Sign up start goes to sign up start, and then the same for the respective success and failure action types. Then we need to create our user actions. So let's make our methods or our action creators. We'll need our sign up start, which will get a set of user credentials. So we can just pass them in like this as a whole object that we will set as our payload. Now, what these credentials will be when we look at our actual signup component is we know we need the email and the password for our create user with email and password, but we're also going to need our display name after from this form. So we'll pass all three in as an object called user credentials. So we know that our user action type is sign up start, and our payload will go to our user credentials. Now, inside of our sign up success, we know that once we get our sign up success from this auth.createUser with email and password object, that this is the object we want to succeed with. But afterwards, in order for us to actually create it in our backend, we do need to run our create user profile document using our new auth object, right, that we get back, as well as the additional information of their display name. So we want to pass both these properties in, this being the additional data that our create user profile document function needs. If we look at Firebase utils, this additional data, which gets spread into our set. But we also need the user. So we're just going to pass both of those into our signup success call. So here, we are going to pass in this object that has a user and an additional data property. And here we're going to set type equals user action types dot sign up success. And payload will go to an object with user and additional data. Now you might be wondering, why don't we just put this as some namespace that represents this object and just pass the whole object through? I think it's just a little bit more clear when you look at this action what you're hoping to get back. I mean, personally, it's a personal preference. If you just pass an object, that's perfectly fine as well. Finally, we need our const sign up failure, which gets the error and fires off our type of user action types dot sign up failure, and payload goes to error. And now we just got to open up our Saga. So here we're going to make a new function called on sign up start. And it's going to take latest of our user action types dot sign up start. And then we're going to call our sign up method, which we need to write. And here we're going to get our user credentials, which we're passing through as the actions payload. So we got to make sure to destructure off the payload. And then what we'll need is the email, the password, and the display name. So once we have these values, what we're going to do is we are going to move over our try code into this action. So the only thing we really need is actually this one. It's just this first half. And instead of a wait, we got a yield, right? So we pluck off the user using this process. And we also need to make sure that we catch any errors. If we do, we're going to fire off our sign up failure methods. So let's import those in as well. Sign up success and sign up failure. And now, as we remember, if we have an error, we're going to put our sign up failure method with the error. But if we succeed, what we need to do is we need to yield, actually I forgot to yield in this put as well, us putting out our success. We're going to pass an object where the user auth, right, goes to user. So let's just double check. Oh, it's just user goes to user. And then additional data right here is going to be an object where display name goes to display name. So what we're doing is we're essentially just creating the user auth with email and password. If this process succeeds and we get back the right object, we're then going to call signup success with the user and our additional data as the payload inside of an object. And now we just have to listen for our signup success. So we're going to have a new export function called onSignUpSuccess. And this is going to yield take latest user actions dot sign up success. And here, what we're going to call is our sign in after sign up method. And then we're going to write this right here. And what this will get is this payload with those two things that we just passed. So we want the user and we want the additional data. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pass these into the same sign in method that we had here, right? Because the only thing that we don't have in order to get our snapshot is our user auth object. But as we see, we actually have it. The difference is that in our create user profile document method, if we look in our Firebase utils, we do take this optional second parameter where we spread in additional data. So we are actually able to just pass that in like this as the second argument right here. And then, of course, we'll pass this through as the subsequent argument in our call. Call will pass every subsequent argument in the order that it comes in after our initial function into the function. If it's undefined, right, we'll just spread nothing in. If there is a value, it'll actually be able to use it. So now we can just copy this and yield this inside of our function. So we'll just make sure to pass user and the additional data. And now if we save, we got to make sure to listen to our two new methods, which is our onSignUpStart and our onSignUpSuccess. And now we just have to modify our signup component to fire our signup_start action. So we can now get rid of this code in this try block here and this catch. We don't need the set state anymore because we're signing in our user after we sign them up. We do want to keep our if password password, and then we do also want to make sure that we take this data. So now what we're going to do is we just need to bring in the right action. This will be in our user/user actions. And the one we want is our sign up start action. We'll also need our connect. And let's just connect our map dispatch to props, where our sign up start goes to us dispatching, where we are passing in our email, password, and our credentials. So we'll just pass it in as an object called user credentials. And now we just have to make sure to pass it into our connect. And now, inside of where we do our handle submit, we just have to make sure to destructure this off of our props. And then we can just fire our signup start with an object that has the display name, the email, and the password. And now we just have to modify our reducer to also store our signup failure. And that's it. If we go back to our application, if we sign out, if we hit our sign in, and we create some user, random user, mk2@gmail.com, right? Let's just use our random password. If we hit sign up, we see sign up success, and we see our sign in success. And now our user is signed in. And we have the user also in our database. So we probably have a couple of new users now, because we did this a couple of times, but there is our user. So this was how we moved our code over into all of these different sagas that are listening to each other and then potentially chaining other actions. So hopefully this saga lesson was good, right? Hopefully everything at least shows you not only how to write sagas and how to structure our code to support sagas, but also what capabilities we can leverage now that we have these sagas that can listen for actions and trigger all kinds of functionality, handling asynchronous actions, impure actions, etc. So with this, our application has now fully been converted over to using Saga code. Now, of course, the more practice you get with writing this, the better. So I suggest that if possible, you go back, rewatch these videos, rebuild these sagas. Again, hopefully this was a useful lesson for you guys to see what sagas are capable of, because this is a very common library that gets used with asynchronous activity when it comes to React Redux projects. Now, let's commit our code. Let's see what we have. So we have a lot of code here. So we're going to say created user and cart sagas for sign in, sign up, and sign in with Google. Now let's push this up and let's move on with our course.